let's take a look at our top selections.
Well, hi, everyone. The feature race on Saturday at Santa Anita is the $100,000 California Distaff Handicap. California-bred fillies and mares, 5.5 furlongs on turf on the flat as Santa Anita moves further and further away from the downhill turf course. And speaking of the hillside turf course, there's a lot of chatter in the local real estate circles that Santa Anita will consider selling and or developing the property on which the downhill turf course is now situated and transform one of Santa Anita's signature races from an outstanding race course into residential property. We'll see whether it's just chatter, just talk, or whether it actually comes to fruition. If it does happen, it's going to be a disappointment. Horsemen love the downhill turf course sprints. Bettors absolutely love the downhill turf course for sprints as well. So we'll see whether or not Santa Anita develops that property or whether somewhere, somehow down the line, we return to downhill turf sprints at Santa Anita, which is really one of the best races on which to wager in all of Southern California. In the meantime, we have the California Distaff on the flat, and it was won last year by Just Grazed Me. Just Grazed Me a year ago was the 5-2 third choice in the betting in the Cal Distaff. She won't be third choice this year. In fact, she's going to probably be the heavy favorite. A field of 6 entered the Cal Distaff. It's race number 8. And from the inside out, Nardini, Smiling Shirley, Althea Gibson, Just Grazed Me, Fantasy Heat, and Gypsy Blue. Now, a year ago, when Just Grazed Me won this race carrying 122 pounds, it was a stablemate by the name of S.Y. Sky, also trained by Phil D'Amato. S.Y. Sky was burdened a year ago with 126 pounds. And I bring it up for a couple reasons. A, to remind everyone that Phil D'Amato has won this stake race 3 of the last 4 years. And secondly, this time around, Just Grazed Me has the target on her back. She now carries 126 pounds, whereas her stablemate, number 3, Althea Gibson, gets in with 115 pounds, an 11-pound weight concession, which really, I guess it kind of makes sense because Just Grazed Me is a graded stakes winner. She won this race a year ago, whereas Althea Gibson is nothing more than a maiden and Calbred allowance winner. However, the Calbred allowance win that Althea Gibson posted 2 weeks ago, 13 days ago, by the time they run this race on Saturday, it'll be 13 days. The win by Althea Gibson was quite incredible, to be perfectly honest. And when we roll the tape on and watch what happened to Althea Gibson soon after the break in the Nick Alexander Silks, and you'll see her second to last, and Althea Gibson is going to steady and get shuffled back and completely loses position. She is out of the race at 6-5. She has no chance, does she? Well, yeah, she does. That's Althea Gibson on the far outside, overcoming that impossible early trouble to motor past and win going away. She earned a 71 buyer speed figure, and I don't care about the number in this case because what Althea Gibson did was quite remarkable. She was eliminated early. She won anyway. She's coming back in 13 days. It's a little bit quick. Phil D'Amato has done this previously. In fact, he did it recently with a filly named Legs Galore. And Althea Gibson, she's not good enough to win this race. She's a low-rated Calbred winner, but she is in absolute peak form. And if the wagering focuses primarily on speed figures, as it often does, maybe Althea Gibson can slip through the cracks and offer some wagering value. She also gets an 11-pound weight break from her more accomplished stablemate. So Althea Gibson overcame trouble. She won well, beat nothing, facing tougher on Saturday in the Cal Distaff. One of the interesting aspects of this race is a lack of real true speed. And that's one reason why you might want to take a look at number 5, Fantasy Heat, who has a forwardly placed running style that almost produced a win last time out. It was September 29th at Santa Anita, as we go ahead and take a quick peek at the stretch run of Fantasy Heat's most recent start. And that's her 2 off the rail in the Lime Silks, and she's going to take the lead right here, and she's she'll be worn down from the inside by Holly Hunty. This was a 2 other than open allowance, and Fantasy Heat ran well. There was nothing truly remarkable about this race other than to show that she likes this turf course. Fantasy Heat does. And she has an upfront running style that should play well in a race that's likely to unfold at a very tepid clip. I'm not sure who's going to make the lead. It might be Fantasy Heat. It could even be Just Graze Me. Just Graze Me, you look at her past performances and you say, well, she's not a front runner. I know, but she has enough tactical speed to be forwardly placed. Just Graze Me does. So does Fantasy Heat. And Fantasy Heat, from a 2 other than into a Calbred Stakes, not that much of a class jump. In fact, it might be a virtual parallel move. So Fantasy Heat in form, good second a couple weeks ago, and she fits in this race. But the horse to beat, carrying 126 pounds. She's packing the grandstand, Just Graze Me is. But you know what? She's probably good enough to overcome the layoff, 4 months on the bench, and that high weight. And when we take a look at her form last year, including back-to-back wins at Santa Anita, we'll start off with October 12th, 2019 in the Cal Distaff, and that's the gray mare on the outside, Just Graze Me, blowing right past California breds to win going away, and she would come back 3 weeks later in a virtually an identical race as far as how she won it. This is the grade 3 Ken Matty against Tougher Company, and there's the gray on the outside, Just Graze Me, rolling past through the lane to win going away. Back-to-back wins in the Cal Distaff and a grade 3 by a veteran mare who has won 6 out of 13 for owner-breeder Nick Alexander and trainer Phil D'Amato. And Just Graze Me subsequently, I don't know if she tailed off or whether just her campaign her campaign did sputter. Not that badly. She came back and finished second in a restricted stakes race. And then she was aiming for a filly mare stake race, but the race did not fill. And so she had to run against the boys. She finished 4th in the Sensational Star. And then in her most recent start, it was way back in May, and she ran 5th in the grade 2 Monrovia. That race was won by Jolie Olympica, with Alexandra finishing 2nd. Those are top class group 1 and or grade 1 winning mares. And Just Graze Me just wasn't good enough. After that race, Alexandra and D'Amato said, you know what, let's take a little break, like everybody did during spring. And they kicked her out up at Santa Inez farm, Nick Alexander's farm, Santa Inez, freshened her up, brought her back, and Just Graze Me has trained extremely well for her comeback. Now, when you look at her past performances, you're going to see a 2-week gap from her last published workout, but that is wrong. And the reason is this. Last Sunday at Los Alamitos, Just Graze Me worked 5 furlongs in company with a older gelding by the name of Tilted Towers, who we expect to possibly see on Monday. Very sharp horse that's won 2 in a row. But the fog was so thick at Los Alamitos last Sunday morning at 6 a.m. that the clockers couldn't see the work. They did not record a final time, but Ramon Gucci, who was riding Just Graze Me, he has a clock on his watch. Anyway, he timed the workout in 1 minute flat. Just Graze Me galloped out super. So she did work out last Sunday at Los Alamitos. I wouldn't be too concerned with regards to that workout gap, because she did in fact work last Sunday, and she's cranked and ready to fire. First start back, Just Graze Me. She's the horse to beat in the Cal Distaff. Her stablemate with an 11-pound weight break, Althea Gibson, has a chance maybe to outrun her odds. Race number 8 on Saturday at Santa Anita. It's all about Just Graze Me trying to give Phil D'Amato his 4th win in the Cal Distaff from the last 5 years. Talk to you next time.